Hi, I'm Pete.
And I'm Reet.
You're Reet.
I am Reet.
And it's the Peet Reet Show. And wow, we got a pretty good show
I think we do.
today.
Should be colorful.
Should be very
Interesting.
Yeah, should be very colorful and interesting. This guy though is, well, let's say that he's a little different. He's done a lot of things in his life.
Yes.
He has his own mind. When he talks and does things, he's very exuberant, and he may even exaggerate just a
little bit?
Yeah. Let's see. He was a NHL hockey player. 382 games, I believe.
Yes, that's correct. 23 goals.
Massive 23 goals.
105 assists.
105 is you knew that, right?
I know.
And he even went to the playoffs.
He did 13 times
And he got an assist.
in the playoffs.
But he was a defenseman. So I mean, back when he played, which was a long time ago, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
Bob. I mean, it wasn't like Bobby Orr. I mean, Bobby Orr was a whole lot different. But we'll get into that with him too.
Well, he may have something to say about that.
Yes, and I hope that he does. Of course, we're talking about the one and only ex-broadcaster for the Sabres, Mike Robitaille, who we'll be talking to in just a minute.
Let me tell you about Mike Robitaille. Dad was so excited when he heard the WGR was having a roast. I have never seen a man grab utensils or a bib so fast in my life. My dad's favorite saying of, "I'm just the asshole around here," finally came true 3 years ago when he became the poster child for prostate exams. Can you even imagine what it was like growing up with him as a father?
You would have heard such remarks as, "Stand up straight, you look like a dog humping a football." Or, "You're not wearing that skirt out. I can see all the way up to China."
Nikki, if you really want something bad enough, you better be willing to eat the floorboards out of a shithouse. I mean, come on, how can you live up to that?
Lastly tonight, we want to raise a glass to Mike's daughters for putting up with his crazy bullshit all of these years.
Love you, Dad.
Those are Mike's daughters? That's
Mike
insane.
Robitaille. Can you believe that's your daughter?
Yes, I can. I live with it. And I train them to be that way. This is really scary.
Oh, that was great.
But both of them should be in prison. But they're not.
You know what, folks? I think they were telling the truth.
I think they were too, especially about the boyfriend part.
Yeah.
I think that's probably true.
And I've seen that look.
Oh, I give them some ugly looks when they go through that door, man, because I know exactly what they want.
And did you really say those phrases about the floorboards and all that?
Absolutely. And I put them through hell before I've had more fights with my kids over that, and they come home with somebody they thought they were in love with, and
Right.
You knew
I screwed
different.
up so bad. I just, give that look at the old chin, the jaw. They say, "Dad, don't give them the jaw when they come in."
Oh, that's awesome.
So now let's get back to way, way back when you decided you wanted to be a hockey player. How old were you?
I just arrived out of the womb fresh, and I was ready to go. And I probably started skating when I was about 3. And I had my brother's skates. We had a large family. We had too many kids in the family to go out and buy skates for everyone. So at age 3, I think I was wearing a size 12 skate.
Oh
No, it was like,
The ankles were
way,
big.
way too big to my brother's skates.
We all did that back
Yeah,
then, though,
but
right?
my mother would pack, remember they would put paper in the toes?
Yeah.
Or if the skate was too tight, they used wax paper on the heel so you
slide in.
That's right. And so I started. My brother would build a little rink out in the backyard, and I would skate on that until I was blue in the face, and then go down down to the next street, and be there until my dad came home. And came down and got me.
That was
Come
up
home and eat.
in northern Ontario.
It was in Midland, Ontario. Yeah. Yeah.
Your birthday's coming up.
The Holy Land, February the 12th,
Yeah.
1948. I'm 67 years old and loving it.
And looking good.
Yeah, looking
Well,
amazing.
everyone has their opinion, but you would say,
Well, your wife says you look good.
yeah.
Well, I called her up for the interview. She said, "Oh yeah, I still look good."
I want to know, did you always play defense?
You know, boy, this is going to sound over the top, but when I was growing up and playing kids hockey, I was a forward, but I was scoring so many goals that it wasn't fair to the other kids. I mean, that was the mindset, and I'd hog the puck, and I'd be scoring 10, 12, 15 goals a game, anything I wanted. He says, "Well, stick him back on defense," and he would score less goals. And it didn't happen. I just, you know,
Yeah, you were one of
continue
those
to
kids
do
that
that.
went from one end to the
So,
other.
yeah, and the other kids would be standing around. The parents would be upset
Mad.
because their boy never got the puck, and I'd just end up putting my own personal little show on, and I didn't have many friends then, nor I do now.
So now you played obviously travel hockey, right? Was there a
No, Lions Club hockey, yeah, Pee Wee and Bantam, juvenile, and all that stuff. When we played against Bobby Orr, you know, we used to. He was from Parry Sound, and I was from Midland, and what they used to do in those days was you would bring up the Bantam, Midget, and Juvenile team up to Parry Sound to play, and then when they would come down to Midland, they'd bring all three teams. They could just save money that way, and they'd get almost everyone in, you know, three teams in one bus. They'd have them cross-piled in there to get them in, but they would save money, and that was a way of, you know, going about their business as wise as they could be anyways, to save some dollars. And, you know, in those days, I'll tell you how good Orr was. He used to play in all three teams when he was 12 years old.
But I hear
Like
you
played
were
Bantam,
better at that time.
Midget.
though.
Yeah, I was until 12, 13 years old. Then everything changed. I don't know what happened. Over the summer, he didn't grow that much, but suddenly, I mean, I have never watched a player do anything like that. I mean, he exploded. He was magnificent.
Yeah.
And he took that all the way through junior hockey, and he ended up being, you know, the best hockey player that's ever lived.
So you agree with
in
that?
my
Bobby Orr,
estimation.
you heard that? Bobby Orr, the best hockey
Well,
player that ever lived.
Yeah, I don't even think twice about that. I've watched them all and played against most of them, and so if you're talking about a complete hockey player, and really revolutionized the game. I mean, what he did from the back end as a defenseman, and they forget also that he brought a toughness to the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he wasn't short of anything. Very humble guy.
And could play
you
goal
know.
too.
Oh, he
Fight.
could fight. He could do everything. I mean, I always found that to be the greater the player in a lot of cases, not in all cases, but a lot of cases, like Gordie Howe, who I got to play with in Detroit, and they were the most humble people, and you know, Orr was the same way.
Still
and,
is. Still is.
Yeah, yeah.
And he's helped a lot of people in his life.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Great
he's
humanitarian.
very quietly went about his business and didn't make a big issue of it.
Very
So
classy.
when you played against, because you knew he was good, right?
Oh,
Did
he
you
was
want to go after him
magnificent.
and chase him around too, or?
Well, that would be it, chasing him around like
Get a check
everyone
here and
else.
there.
Yeah, but they used to come up like Boston went after Bobby Orr, and New York went after me. And at one point, it was, let's get this Robitaille kid. But then that changed once Orr really exploded. Then everything shifted over to let's get this Orr kid from Parry Sound, and it ended up being the Boston Bruins. And I ended up signing. We both did when we were 14 years old with NHL teams. I signed with the New York Rangers.
Super. Well, we've been talking to Mike Robitaille, former broadcaster of the Sabres and NHLer, and we'll be back in just a minute.
And hi, we're back with Peet and Reet and Mike Robitaille, our special guest today.
So, Mike, you're back there. You're playing great hockey. You're right up there with Bobby Orr, the great one, and you were just as good and always chased him around. But at 13, 14 years old, the NHL was looking for players, right? Which is kind of weird to me. That's pretty young.
That's the way it was.
How would they find you out in the backwoods?
They had what they called bird dogs in those days. They had guys all over every little town. They would, NHL teams had guys in the area. They were former players and so on. And they would beat the bushes for young talent. And not even legal. I mean, I signed what they called a C form when I was 14 years old, and I left home then.
Wow.
Go play junior hockey in Kitchener. I played 5 years of junior hockey, and no education to speak of. All All I knew is that I wanted to be a professional hockey player.
All your life.
So you jumped at the
That's
chance.
that's the only thing. And they'd give you $100 to sign the C form, which meant that they owned you for your amateur years. And then you would have to turn pro with that team. I mean, it was so stupid and so one-sided. It was just horrendous. It was a mess. How we ever got into those, agreed to that stuff, I have no idea. But that was just
But you didn't
the
care,
nature of the game.
right? You didn't care because you were playing the game.
Yeah.
All I knew, Peter, was that I gave up my education, and all I ever heard was, "You're not going anyplace. You're just going to end up in a pogey line, and nobody makes it in the NHL. You have no chance whatsoever, and you're just a badass kid."
So who was telling you that?
Oh, everyone.
From teachers
Yeah. Because my schoolwork was awful, and all I cared about was skating and making the National Hockey League. That's all I dreamt about. Every day of my life was about making the National Hockey League. And, my dream came true, and it was a long road. It was a very, very difficult road to go down. But
You have to do a
you
lot
give
of
up a lot.
exercise and stuff like that.
Well,
for that.
yeah, but not so much in those. I mean, we did, but not to the point that what they go through now.
Now.
It's a whole new world because there's so much money involved. Like inside these, you've got the team, but you also, under the umbrella, you have 20 mini corporations almost with these players, and they take great care of themselves and great training, and they're well taken care of, and their traveling is spectacular, and their food that they eat, and their own personal training and so on. So it's a can't miss situation once you get there.
I want to ask you, in your day when you were playing, was there, you'd go out to the bar and drink after the games and hang out?
Oh gosh, no, Mike wouldn't do that.
Like, was that the norm? Because I went into Buffalo and I saw the Pittsburgh Penguins there, and there was like two lines there, and they're all sitting there and they're having water, and I'm like, it's got to be a hockey team.
The coach was probably there. That's what
You could never drink. You could never drink where the coaches were, or you could never drink at the hotel you stayed in, because then you would see the coach or the general manager, and you had to
trouble.
go out and find your own place. One of the key elements to any season was, like, you had to know the back exits and how to sneak in past curfew, and everyone had their way of doing it, and it was you had to be very tricky. But you knew all the back entrances, and so you'd get out and you'd go out and have a couple of drinks
With your
at night
buddies.
and have something to eat and be with your buddies, have a good time, because we certainly weren't there for the money.
Yeah.
When I played in the National Hockey League, when I was playing in Buffalo with the Sabres, I was making $18,000 a year.
Wow.
When I played with the
What
New
year was
York
that?
Rangers, 71, 72. When I turned pro with the New York Rangers, I was voted the best defenseman in Canada that year out of junior hockey, and I got a $5,000 signing bonus. And if I didn't make the NHL, I made $5,000 more to play in Omaha. And if I'd made the New York Rangers, my contract called for $12,000.
That's amazing. How many teams? How many teams were there then?
I didn't care. I got my respect. All the people that said you're a bum, you're not going to make. Their tune changed a little bit, and it was a great day when that bird dog I was talking about, the scout for the New York Rangers, opened up the lid of his car, or the trunk of his car, and said, "What size jacket do you think your dad would like?" A New York Ranger hockey jacket.
Oh, wow.
So there was Ernie Robitaille, who was there was 11 in their family. I was the baby of 11.
Wow.
And he labored his whole life. I mean, he came home with dirt from his head to his toes every day of his life. My mother just pretty well made a living producing babies. And Dad was, all of a sudden he went from old Ernie Robitaille, who's labored and was a plumber and everything. He was... that's
The dad of
Mike's
an
dad.
NHL player.
Yes, everything changed dramatically.
How many teams back
And
then
so-
when you broke in?
6.
There were 6. I mean,
6, and then 12. At 12, I was right on the cusp of changing.
yeah. So I mean, you have to. I mean, to make it with 6 teams out of all the players in the
Yeah.
pool. I mean,
Pretty darn
that's
good.
that's a
If
big deal.
if I wanted to make New York Rangers, I had to beat out 2 Hall of Famers.
Wow.
I would have had to beat out Harry Howell, who was near the end of his career, and Tim Horton.
Yeah, wow.
And so it was an automatic couple of years in the minors,
Yeah.
unless you were just unbelievable like Orr and players like that, of that ilk.
Well, you're watching Peet Reet, and you're watching the amazing Mike Robitaille, and we'll be back with more in just a minute. Well, he played for the Rangers, Detroit, the Sabres, and
That's
Vancouver.
enough. Detroit,
Vancouver.
half a year in Detroit.
yeah.
That was worth it, just playing with Gordie Howe.
I bet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was
It
he-
was a
He played with some
situation, just
amazing
sit there
people.
and you with your mouth open. You know, one of the biggest problems I had, what really cost me 3 years of my career, was I was in such awe. I had so much respect for my heroes and the guys I played against. I could never be myself. Where you watch a player like Brad Park, who turned pro the same year I did, and he came into training camp, and he's just, get the hell out of the way. I'm here. I have arrived. And
Here
Really?
I am.
I belong
Wow.
in it, and he just turned out to be one of the greatest defensemen ever played the game of hockey. And I was sitting there like afraid to eyeball anyone. Yeah.
You
that something, huh?
came from 11 kids in your family. How many
Yeah.
boys?
Productive parents.
I'd say.
9 boys, 2 girls. A
And
couple died at a very early age, and you know, my brothers are dying off now. I'm the baby of 11, so
Oh, wow.
if all things go like they're supposed to go, I guess I'll end up burying the whole family before it's all over with. So,
So how's that happen? I mean, you got 11 kids.
what, dying?
No, I know how that happens.
Stop
At least,
breathing.
Unfortunately, we know how that happens.
It's going to happen to you pretty soon.
Do
If
we
you
need to give you-
you don't start straightening your life out.
right.
You're going to be...
CPR, anyone?
Yeah. But you got 11 kids, which is a big family, and I'm sure your parents weren't filthy rich. And then you're
Not a
going,
penny.
yeah,
They didn't even own a car.
yeah, and you're going to go off and be this hockey player, which nobody else in your family even puts skates on,
Who's
including
gonna
your pop.
Filthy
Yeah.
rich?
How's that happen? And how do you get the support? Like, how did that happen?
I think we all like attention to a certain degree, and it seemed like the better I played, the more attention I got. And that was really different for me because I never received that much attention at an early age. It was, there's that Robitaille kid, he's a bad actor, and he stole
Still is, by the way.
stole some more sticks out of the dressing room, and because I didn't have any money to buy any, and you just find your way just kind of going up that ladder till you get where you want to be, and then before you know it, it's over, and then you have to kind of reinvent yourself, reevaluate your life, and go on another adventure.
You must have had some hand-me-down stuff then,
I
with
had a
11
ton of-
kids.
Always hand me down. Everything
Even
was
skates?
hand me down. Oh, always skates. Yeah.
They weren't from the family because nobody else skated but him.
I just, you know, they all skated, but not, you know, they had skates, and I'd end up with their skates.
Shoving
First real
tape
good-
in the end and
Oh,
extra
yeah.
socks. And,
First real good pair of skates I had was when I went away to play junior hockey.
Wow.
They paid for your skates. But that whole hockey career happened so quickly. It seemed like it
At
was
14.
over before you started. But you know what was interesting was I pulled out a hockey card one time, and on the back it said they had a little caricature of you, and it said besides being a professional hockey player. I remember I was 20 years old. It said Mike someday would like to be a broadcaster, a hockey broadcaster.
and
both-
did you say that?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yeah, and both things turned out that way.
Came true.
That's because you had, I mean, they talk about you got to have strong vision for your goals. And if you have that strong vision, and obviously you did because you're up in the middle of nowhere in Ontario and everybody's telling you, come on, buddy, and you're stupid. You're not going anywhere. And you did it. So it's pretty amazing. And you played for all those teams I talked about. And you finished with Vancouver.
That's correct.
Yeah. Not a great, I mean, not a great story.
Good ending.
No.
No, it was bad. It was a bad ending, and shouldn't have happened. And been left with a disability because of it. And it was, you know, I played 3 games with a fractured neck that the team knew about. And so at that point in time, I had to make a decision what I was going to do, and it was to sue the Vancouver Canucks. That was the first time an NHL team had been sued. I mean, it's happened before, but no one went all the way with it. They either took a buyout or a job or whatever, but we beat them the first time around, and of course they appealed it and went to the Supreme Court of BC, and the Supreme Court found it so egregious so high-handed, really against all the dictates of common sense.
And you were
They said,
you were at your wits' end. You had spent
Yeah.
everything. You guys were ready to go
Well,
live
they
out in
even
the street.
said, well, the great thing,
Yeah.
what the Supreme Court said was that we turned the appeal down, not only turned the appeal down, but this is so ridiculous that we're going to raise the judgment up even higher. So it was really, really a disgusting, embarrassing moment for myself to say I played in the National Hockey League. I wasn't very proud of it, or the people that were running the teams. In those
But you set a precedent there because nobody else had ever done that.
It did, and things happened. Things changed a little bit for players. All of a sudden, they took better care of themselves because of the liability, in which their arrogance was so outstanding that they didn't have to worry about liability. Who in the hell would ever fight them and not take a job, or what are you going to do? And you have no education, and you'll just sit there and take it. And I didn't take it. My wife didn't take it. And
Good for you.
we went on a merry battle, and it was long and difficult, and without any help from Alan Eagleson, the former crook.
That's surprising.
Former crook on 32 counts, and we're pretty well by ourselves.
And we're going to hold it there, and we're going to be back in a few minutes, and we'll be here with Mike talking about your broadcasting career.
The next move in the story of Robitaille.
And it's Peet Reet here with Mike Robitaille, talking about his career, your life as a child, and growing up and going to juniors and the NHL. Now I really want to know about your broadcasting career.
Your next dream.
Yeah, the first dream came true for you. Now this one, how did that happen? How did you go from being a hockey player to being a broadcaster?
In Buffalo.
Yeah, in Buffalo. Well, when my career was over in Vancouver, I hightailed it right back to Buffalo because all my friends were back in Buffalo when I played there. And I love Buffalo, and I love, you go where your friends are.
Sure.
And it's comfortable, it's comfortable living financially in Buffalo compared to Vancouver. And so I needed a job. And first while, I spent the first couple of years kind of learning how to walk again and use my hands and how to talk and use my mouth properly. I got through all that stuff, and then I decided I wanted to follow through on this broadcasting deal. So Ted Darling gave me a break and did an interview with me and gave me a little push in the right direction. And before I knew it, I had an opportunity to do a couple games for Buffalo. And I just made damn sure that I didn't screw it up. This was my opportunity. And
Ted was the first
he
play-by-play
really,
announcer for the Sabres.
Yeah, that's right. I was very fortunate to work with a couple Hall of Famers, and actually three. Actually, Harry Neil and then Rick Jeanneret, and I was working with Ted Darling. And
Who was the mentor there? Who was the mentor there? Who helped you through it all?
Oh, Ted Darling was spectacular. He was a very gentle person and a very caring person. He took good care of me, and certainly his door was always open. Gave me every opportunity in the world to learn, and he had plenty of experience at that point. But that was a great opportunity for me, and I turned that into a 33-year job.
Well, you're so colorful. I mean, your analogies and your exaggerations.
The crazier I got, the more they liked it. And
Exactly.
so at one time, I was the general manager over at the Fort Erie Racetrack. I was going from there. I was doing the Buffalo Sabres hockey games, and then my wife owned a real estate company, and so I really worked hard there for about 10, 15 years. It's going night and day, and last year was my retirement from television, and now I just do a little bit of radio, just enough so I don't have to give out the bully pulpit,
So did you do like all of us had to do in broadcast? Did you have to review tape and look at yourself? And
I never, I hate my work. I can't stand my voice. I can't stand watching myself. And very, very few times have I ever watched myself. And when I did, I kind of said, yeah, not too bad. It wasn't that bad after all.
Did your family like it?
I just Oh, they're so proud, you know.
Are they?
Yeah,
I
it's
bet.
great. That's
Well, you can tell by his daughters from the
That's
opening.
one of the
yeah.
nice things about the whole, about playing in the NHL and being a broadcaster and all the accoutrements that come along with it. I know.
Dad did good.
I know my family has enjoyed it, and that makes me happy. So, I think when you can make somebody happy, that's about as good as it can get. So.
And broadcasting, it's fun, right? And you,
I don't think I worked very often. I tried working once. I didn't like it, so I got into broadcasting.
now, most people who work, and I did a little bit of color way back when, we'd always end
you
up in the
did.
dressing room, and it was in radio, and talk to the players, right? But you're the guy, and actually the smart guy, who really didn't get involved with the players. Why was that?
Well, probably if you talk to most of the players, and most of them would hate my guts because I just didn't want to. I was as honest as I could be, and you don't like your dirty laundry out in public. And unfortunately, you better do your job right, or I was about to point it out in a given broadcast. But I never went inside. I never went inside a dressing room if I could possibly help it, because I didn't want to fall in love with the players. And majority of them, there's not very many bad ones. There's some in there, but the majority of them are really good guys. They don't come from much, and they did same thing I did. They fought like hell to get where they are now, and they're pretty humble guys. And I would like them too much. And that night I would have to turn around and do my job, and I couldn't do it.
Yeah.
If I found out how nice some of these kids, you'd bring them
wanna take
home
them
to marry
home,
your
yeah.
daughter. They're great, and I just couldn't do my job right without it.
See, I wanted to go in the dressing room.
You know.
Yeah.
You know what? Nowadays.
For what reason?
Nowadays you could. I remember the first
Yeah, now
time
you
that
could.
happened in Long Island. We had a game against the Islanders, and that's when finally somebody broke that glass ceiling
Yeah.
and came through, and it was a lady in the dressing room.
Yeah.
So it was pretty stunning. I'll
I
tell
bet
you
it
that
was.
much.
For her as
Some
well.
guys ran for the towels, others didn't. Just depended.
I won't ask who.
Just depended on a few things. If you had a reason to cover up, you would.
Now, Buffalo is a great town.
Yeah.
We love Buffalo.
Pretty
We love
underrated
Buffalo.
place, huh?
It is.
love
It's
it.
a great place. The
Raised
people
my
are great.
kids there, and
fantastic.
my friends and family, and
And the fans there loved
Love
you.
I love them. I always felt like I was working for them, not for the team. Maybe that's why I was always in trouble with the team. I was always in trouble with the coach, the players, the general manager, the everyone. Well, you said this, you said that, and I said, well, listen, I'm going to be honest with, I'm not going to sell myself out. Let me keep a little piece of integrity, anyways. So there is a price to pay for that. But I always felt like I was working for the fans, not for the team.
Well, it showed.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was 33 years of basically not working and doing something that I would have been watching the game anyways. And it was wonderful. It opened a lot of doors for me.
Yeah, and you got to say what you wanted to say, and I think people appreciate it. That's why Cherry gets and stays where he's at.
Don Cherry didn't, if he wasn't bombastic,
You'd never watch him.
You know what he'd be doing? But what I would be doing.
Yeah.
Who knows? Working, I guess, at a grocery store. He had no education to speak of, had no experience, and he'd be laboring.
The only thing he'd
as
do
I
is
would
this.
be laboring. But I'll tell you what, it's funny. People break their legs trying to get to the TV when he comes on.
Because he says it like it is.
Yeah.
Now, you were honored with a roast a few months ago.
And you, and of course,
Pete and Reed had a little bit to do
Yeah, a
with it.
little
but,
had a lot to do with it.
It was a lot of fun.
It was a great success, and we had a big crowd there, and your production work was spectacular, and
And we raised money for a couple charities.
a lot.
Great.
Children's
I'll tell
Hospital,
you,
the veterans.
This isn't home cooking, but if I was ever putting something on, you guys would be doing it, because you did a
thank you.
spectacular
Thank you.
job, and
Appreciate that.
I was very, very proud of the work that was done and the way that whole thing went down, because it can go in a lot of different directions, right?
Yeah.
To be able to, get a collar on it and control it and pull everything in was a pretty big deal. because it can get pretty goofy sometimes.
Well, you were
They
pretty
had-
easy to work with.
Yeah, and we had some
Thank
great
you.
people there. We even had Dean Martin's son Ricky there
He did?
singing
Yeah,
for you.
wasn't that something? Holy smokes, that was amazing. I thought John Murphy had a great line. He said, "Did you ever notice? Did you ever notice how much he looks like Jerry Lewis? Jerry Lewis' son or something?"
Yes.
Murph is funny. He is one
yeah.
funny guy. So
Yeah. When we
Marcel
had a good
Dion,
night. We got the job done.
yeah, Marcel Dion told his whole hockey career and yours all together. So
We had to hook him off the stage.
I was grateful that everyone showed up, and we had a nice crowd, about 500 people, and
That's
it
how
was a
humble
good
you
night.
are. He was worried
Yeah.
that no one would show up.
yeah, exactly.
That's why I didn't
We had
wanna
to
do
add
it.
extra tables.
Yeah, that's why I didn't want to do it. I said, who the hell's going to show up? And
Well, people love you.
You know,
It showed.
that's it's humbling. Thank you.
Michael, thank you
you.
so much for what you've done for hockey and with hockey, and
stop it,
it's
please.
a
It's my pleasure.
It's a pleasure being your friend and
Yeah.
working together on some stuff. We
Maybe
thank
this
you for
whole
showing.
thing, because of that roast, I've got some new friends now in my
You
life. and
absolutely do.
Well, not here,
That's,
but
Well, maybe not. Okay.
That's pretty valuable.
Wait a minute. He's
They're
inviting
hard-
us to
they're
his
hard to
house.
find.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
But anyways, anytime you ever need anything, as long as it hasn't got anything to do with money, get in touch with
I was just going to ask for a loan, but that's not going to work,
Okay.
obviously. Thank you so much, Mike. All the best, and thank you for watching the Peet Reet Show. We'll see you next time.